What if I told you that every successful person you admire has broken a rule you still rigidly follow, while you're sticking to the conventional handbook of being good, fair, and nice? The truly powerful are not just playing the game, they are completely rewriting it. They use strategies so psychologically ruthless that society has shrouded them in shame, deliberately keeping you from ever discovering them. And here's something even more alarming. These 33 truths aren't merely abstract theories, but practical, actionable principles. The individuals who run the largest corporations, win major elections, and build lasting empires don't just know these secrets, they embody and live by them every single day. Machiavelli didn't create these rules. He merely had the bravery to put them into words. Now you are on the brink of uncovering why history's most successful figures were willing to be branded as monsters in order to get what they truly desired. Ask yourself, what are you willing to become to finally win this game of life? Truth 1. Everyone secretly ranks you. Right now, every person in your social circle has silently slotted you into a hierarchy. Some admire you, some tolerate you, and others may even secretly despise you. You do this too, even though you like to pretend otherwise. This invisible ranking shapes how they treat you, which opportunities they share with you, and whether they genuinely celebrate your achievements or just fake enthusiasm while plotting to surpass you. You are not equally valued by everyone who calls you a friend. The harsh arithmetic of friendship means there is always someone at the bottom, someone who gets invited last, included reluctantly, or talked about behind their back. Your friends analyze you when you're not around, judging your decisions, your relationships, and your failures. They constantly measure your success against their own and adjust their behavior accordingly. When you struggle, they feel both superior and generous. When you thrive, they feel threatened and competitive. The friend who cheers your promotion might simultaneously be updating their resume. The one who comforts you through heartbreaks might secretly find solace in your romantic misfortunes because it makes their own relationship troubles feel less painful. Truth 2. Playing the victim card is a losing strategy. You didn't randomly encounter that toxic boss, manipulative partner, or exploitative friend. You selected them through a complex mix of your psychological makeup, unconscious signals, and unhealed wounds, all combining to create the perfect hunting ground. Machiavelli warned that predators don't waste time on the aware. They hunt the vulnerable, the eager to please, those who confuse attention with affection. You were chosen because you made yourself choose able. Your desperate need for validation broadcasts a beacon that predators instinctively hone in on. Your fear of abandonment makes you tolerate behavior that is completely unacceptable. The victim mindset isn't about what happened to you. It's about the energy you project, which attracts those who feed on weakness. Your unresolved trauma creates patterns that predators instantly recognize. They can smell your desperation for love, approval, or security from across a room. Until you heal the wounds that make you attractive to toxic people, you will keep attracting them and wonder why your relationships consistently fail. Truth 3. Everyone is performing their virtue. That friend who constantly posts about helping others, and the colleague who eloquently speaks about integrity. They're not genuinely living these values. Instead, they are performing them for an audience. True virtue operates quietly and without fanfare. The instant someone feels compelled to broadcast their goodness, you're witnessing carefully orchestrated image management. The most genuinely virtuous people you know likely never boasted about their deeds. Real integrity requires neither announcement nor applause. Social media has transformed virtue into a form of performance art. People thoughtfully curate their charitable acts, their moral stances, and even their righteous anger, all to garner maximum visibility and approval. Behind closed doors, these very same individuals often behave in ways that starkly contradict their public persona. The person who preaches environmental responsibility might fly private jets, An advocate for workers' rights could be exploitative toward their own employees. A champion of equality might practice favoritism when no one's looking. When someone flaunts their virtue so openly, question their motives carefully. Authentic goodness doesn't need an audience. Performed virtue is usually a mask, hiding genuine selfishness beneath a carefully constructed moral costume. Truth 4. The nice guy will be manipulated relentlessly. While you're busy being considerate and kind, someone else is watching and calculating. They've studied your patterns, hesitations, and your deep need to be liked, using every insight against you. The uncomfortable reality is that your moral compass becomes their roadmap for manipulation. Every time you choose kindness over strategy, you hand them another tool to undermine you. They know you'll say yes, even when you want to say no. They know you'll absorb blame to avoid conflict. They know you'll sacrifice your own interests to preserve relationships. Your niceness creates predictable responses. They exploit with ease. The person who always helps becomes everyone's dumping ground for problems. The one who never complains ends up with the worst assignments. Your virtue becomes their shortcut to getting what they want, while you get left with whatever scraps remain. Nice people don't finish last by accident. They are systematically placed there by those who understand that kindness without boundaries is nothing more than free labor waiting to be harvested. Truth 5. Love is temporary. Fear is forever. Machiavelli understood human nature deeply. He realized that people's affection for you can disappear overnight, but their fear of consequences endures indefinitely. Build your success on indispensability, not likability. The person who controls valuable resources or crucial information never fears abandonment. The one who relies solely on charm quickly discovers how fleeting charm becomes in hard times. Love is conditional, dependent on your ability to meet someone's expectations. The moment you disappoint, hurt, or stop serving their needs, love can transform into resentment. But fear of losing something vital creates lasting influence. People may betray someone they love if the cost is worth it, but they won't risk destroying something they truly need. Machiavelli wasn't promoting cruelty. He was simply acknowledging a harsh aspect of human behavior. Make yourself valuable, not just lovable. Develop skills that others need. Control resources others want. Possess information others require. When you are useful, you are protected. When you are merely beloved, you become expendable the moment a more charming person arrives. Fear here doesn't mean terror. It means respect for your ability to significantly impact others' lives. Truth 6. Your biggest competitor shares your bed. Your romantic partner is both your greatest ally and your most intimate adversary. They know your weaknesses, your fears, your secret shames. In those quiet, unguarded moments, they are silently calculating whether they could do better without you. Relationships that stand the test of time are not born from endless passion. Rather, they are grounded in a deep sense of respect, mutual benefit, and aligned self-interest. Love, at its core, is the story people tell themselves about a strategic partnership. Every successful couple has, often unconsciously, negotiated a complex deal. Each partner brings something valuable to the table and expects a fair return in the long run. Your partner has seen you at your lowest, your worst moments, failures and vulnerability exposed. They have witnessed your incompetence firsthand. Sometimes they use this insight to help you grow and improve. Other times they wield it to maintain an upper hand in the power dynamics of the relationship. Choosing your long-term partner is, therefore, one of the most crucial decisions you will ever make. This choice profoundly shapes the trajectory of your life. The person who shares your bed night after night knows exactly how to wound you emotionally, financially, and socially. They hold the keys to your deepest secrets, your assets, your children, and your reputation. They can either be your greatest strength or your most dangerous threat. The difference hinges on whether your mutual interests remain aligned, or if they come to view you as an obstacle to their happiness. Truth 7. Success attracts saboteurs, not supporters. Every milestone you reach quietly spawns invisible enemies. Your promotion threatens someone else's ambitions. Your happiness serves as a painful reminder of their own dissatisfaction. Your growth forces others to confront their stagnation, and many would rather pull you down than elevate themselves. The people who stood by you during your struggles aren't guaranteed to cheer when you thrive. Success pushes everyone around you to face their own shortcomings. Your achievements become mirrors reflecting their failures. Your new relationship highlights their loneliness. Your business success casts light on their career stagnation. Your fitness transformation spotlights their neglected health. Instead of drawing inspiration from your wins, these individuals seek reasons to belittle your accomplishments. Sabotage rarely takes the form of direct attack. It's often subtle, passive-aggressive remarks, withdrawal of support at critical times, or quietly sowing seeds of doubt about your abilities. The colleague who publicly congratulates you might be privately questioning your qualifications. The friend who smiles at your success might secretly hope it's fleeting. Success isolates you from those unable to reach it, and attracts the bitter resentment of those unwilling to try. Truth 8. Your story is someone else's cautionary tale. While you live as the hero of your own journey, others are busy observing and cataloging your mistakes as lessons to avoid. Your breakup flags red warnings about relationships. Your career setback marks paths they dare not take. Your public embarrassment becomes a silent lecture. You are the protagonist of your story, yet also a supporting character in countless others. People glean far more wisdom from your failures than your victories. The price you pay for your mistakes grants them free insight into pitfalls they hope to escape. Your poor decisions become case studies that others reference when making their own choices. The irony is harsh and unyielding. While you endure difficult experiences, struggling through pain and working hard to learn and grow from your mistakes, others reap the benefits of your suffering without ever paying the price you paid. Your costly lessons turn into their inexpensive education. Your reputation becomes a cautionary tale shared with children, friends, and colleagues alike. The person who lost everything gambling becomes the example warning others away from casinos. The individual who trusted the wrong business partner serves as the reason people scrutinize contracts more carefully. Your suffering acts as a shield for others, protecting them from similar fate. Recognize your worth and honor the fact that you took the uncomfortable, brave path that others lack the courage to attempt. Truth 9. The loudest moral voice hides the darkest secrets. The person who shouts most passionately about honesty often conceals the biggest lie. Those who condemn others' sexual behavior may secretly wrestle with their own desires. The champion of loyalty has probably betrayed someone recently. Moral grandstanding is a form of psychological projection. When someone positions themselves as the voice of virtue, start questioning what it is they are trying to convince themselves they are not. The human psyche projects its hidden darkness onto others as a defense mechanism. The politician campaigning on family values might be having an affair. The religious leader preaching purity could be battling addiction. The activist fighting corruption might be embezzling funds. The parent lecturing about responsibility may be neglecting their own duties. Excessive moral preaching acts as camouflage for secret guilt. By loudly condemning others' wrongdoings, they create distance from their similar actions. They try to convince themselves and the world that someone who speaks so ardently against vice couldn't possibly be guilty of it themselves. The most dangerous people are often those presenting themselves as moral authority. They wield their proclaimed virtue as a weapon, while secretly engaging in the very behaviors they publicly despise. Always trust actions over words, especially when those words sound particularly righteous. Truth 10. Your children will betray your values. Every parent believes they are raising children who will honor their teachings. Yet, children unconsciously rebel against their parents' core beliefs as a biological imperative for independence. The deepest values you sacrifice for, fight for, and live by will become the very things your children reject in order to forge their own identities. The cycle continues as they, in turn, raise children who reject their rebellion. The conservative parent raises the liberal activist. The religious fundamentalist creates the atheist philosopher. The workaholic breeds the minimalist who values time over money. Children don't reject their parents' values because they are wrong. They reject them because they must become themselves, rather than extensions of their parents. This rebellion is not personal malice. It is evolutionary necessity. Each generation must differentiate itself from the previous one to adapt to changing circumstances. Your children will judge your choices through the lens of their own era, finding your methods outdated and your priorities misguided. The values you spent decades building and sacrificing to uphold will seem primitive to them. They will embrace ideas that horrify you, make choices that confuse you, and judge you for not being more like them. The good news is that as children grow older, they tend to understand your perspective more and more. Rebellion gradually softens into acceptance and gratitude, at least partially. If you can weather the storm together, there is light waiting at the end of the tunnel. Truth 11. Gratitude has an expiration date. Help someone once, and they show appreciation. Help them repeatedly, and they begin to expect it. Keep helping, and resentment grows, because you've made them feel dependent. A successful leader understands that ongoing assistance breeds entitlement, not loyalty. People prefer to feel powerful rather than grateful. The moment your help becomes expected, it loses all value as social currency. Human psychology transforms generosity into obligation through repetition. The person you rescue from financial ruin may feel grateful initially, but continuous support shifts that gratitude into expectation. Then resentment. They start to see your help as something owed rather than a gift you freely give. Machiavelli observed that people hate being reminded of their dependence. Continuous aid makes them feel weak and creates a psychological debt they cannot repay. Eventually, they either distance themselves to escape the burden of obligation, or convince themselves that you owe them because of some imagined injustice. Strategic generosity means helping enough to inspire gratitude, but not so much as to create dependence. The person who feels temporarily grateful becomes your ally, but the one who feels permanently obligated turns into an enemy who wishes you'd disappear so they can forget their debt. Truth 12. Your trauma is someone else's opportunity. The moments when you are most vulnerable, grieving, divorcing, failing, struggling, are precisely when others position themselves for advantage. While you process pain, they process opportunity. Your temporary weakness becomes their permanent gain. People who show up during your darkest moments aren't always there to help. Many arrive to harvest what your crisis reveals. Trauma opens doors for predators, specialized in exploiting vulnerability. The person going through a divorce becomes susceptible to romantic manipulation. The one facing financial ruin becomes prey to loan sharks and get-rich-quick schemes. The grieving become targets for spiritual charlatans and emotional vampires. Your crisis stokes desperation for solution, support, or salvation. This desperation warps your decision-making, benefiting those skilled at exploiting emotional turmoil. While you're drowning, they learn to swim effortlessly in the chaos you create. Truth 13. Everyone can become the best, but hierarchies are inevitable. Every system that promises equality ultimately creates new hierarchies. Revolutionaries fighting oppression often become the new oppressors. Marginalized individuals who gain power sometimes wield it more ruthlessly than those they replaced. Hierarchy is a law of nature, not merely a social construct. Energy, intelligence, ambition, opportunity always distribute unevenly. producing winners and losers, regardless of noble intentions. Even in systems designed for equality, some work harder, think clearer, take bigger risks, or get luckier. These differences compound over time, forming disparities that grow into hierarchies. Communist states breed party elites. Democracies create wealthy influencers. Cooperative businesses develop informal power structures. Equality movements frequently succeed at changing who holds power, but rarely abolish power structures themselves. The oppressed become oppressors because power corrupts. No matter the original moral foundation, the pursuit of equality is noble yet ultimately futile. It challenges fundamental aspects of human nature and natural law. Differences in ability, motivation, and circumstance will always lead to unequal outcomes. The only true equality lies in everyone's right to compete within an inherently unequal game. Truth 14. Your identity is your prison. The stronger your sense of self, the more predictable you become. Identity builds a box around acceptable thoughts, behaviors, and choices. Others learn to operate within this box and to manipulate it. The person who insists, "I would never do that," is the easiest to control. All it takes is making the forbidden act appear to be the only moral or reasonable choice. Your integrity becomes the lock that cages you. Your identity creates limitations that restrict your adaptability. The person who defines themselves as honest cannot employ strategic deception even when it would serve their interests. The individual who prides themselves on loyalty cannot abandon toxic relationships even when staying causes harm. The one who values consistency cannot alter course, even if their current path leads to ruin. Others exploit these fixed identities by engineering situations where your self-image dictates your response. They know the helper will help, the loyal will remain faithful, the honest will tell the truth. Your predictability becomes their source of power over you. The most successful people maintain flexible identities that shift to suit circumstance. They are honest when honesty benefits them, loyal when loyalty advances their goals, helpful when helping serves their agenda. They prioritize effectiveness over rigidity, results over reputation. A rigid identity may feel authentic, but it leaves you vulnerable to defeat by those who understand your psychological limits. Truth 15. Cruelty can be kind. Sometimes the harshest immediate action creates the most beneficial long-term outcome. Consider the parent who enforces strict boundaries or the boss who demands excellence. Modern society often confuses kindness with enabling. True compassion frequently requires temporary discomfort to avert permanent damage. A swift, decisive cruelty can prevent prolonged suffering. The surgeon who cuts out a tumor is cruel in the moment, but merciful in the outcome. The teacher who fails a student forces confrontation with avoidance, sparking growth. Machiavelli noted that leaders who aimed to be liked by everyone often inflicted more harm than those who took hard decisions quickly. The ruler who delays necessary but unpopular choices lets problems fester, ensuring that eventual solutions demand far greater cruelty than immediate action would have required. Misplaced kindness enables destructive behavior, extends suffering, and thwarts growth. Those who shield others from consequences steal crucial opportunities for learning. Sometimes, the cruelest kindness is delivering harsh truths to break destructive patterns. Truth 16. Your reputation is worth more than your character. Character matters deeply to you. Reputation matters to everyone else. Your reputation shapes how others allures you, determining your opportunities, relationships, and success. You could be the most ethical person alive, but if your reputation suggests otherwise, you will bear the fallout for crimes you never committed. Conversely, individuals with poor character but stellar reputations glide through life with relative ease. Reputation is perception, and perception becomes reality in the minds of others. Those who seem trustworthy are trusted, regardless of their true nature. Those who appear competent gain chances, even if their actual skills are lacking. Character unfolds in private moments when no one is watching. Reputation functions in public spaces where judgment reigns. Your character controls your conscience. Your reputation controls your options. The harsh reality is that most people will never truly know your character. They base their judgments on limited encounters, second-hand gossip, and surface-level impressions. They decide whether to trust you, respect your competence, or value you based on incomplete information and fleeting first impressions. For this reason, protecting your reputation is far more critical than guarding your character. Truth 17. Forgiveness is weakness disguised as virtue. The person who keeps forgiving the same offense isn't virtuous. They are afraid of confrontation, change, or being alone. They have convinced themselves that enduring mistreatment is the same as being virtuous. True forgiveness happens once. Everything beyond that is enabling harmful behavior. The habitual forgiver trains others to mistreat them by removing any lasting consequences for bad actions. Forgiving without boundaries sends the message that actions bear no permanent repercussions. A partner who is always forgiven for cheating learns that infidelity is permissible. It's easier to forgive than to enforce boundaries. Simpler to tolerate abuse than to end relationships. Less frightening to stay trapped in dysfunction than to face the unknown. Real forgiveness requires that not forgiving remains a real possibility. The most compassionate choice is to withhold forgiveness until genuine change occurs. This forces offenders to face the consequences of their actions and transform, rather than assuming your absolution is guaranteed. Truth 18. People will steal your greatest ideas. While you pour your heart and soul into building something meaningful, others study your process, your key connections, and your results. They reverse engineer your passion, turning it into profit. What you create for love becomes their cold, strategic business, and often with greater success, because they aren't weighed down by sentimental attachment to outdated methods. Your passion is your vulnerability, as it drives you toward fulfillment rather than ruthless strategy. Meanwhile, opportunists observe your innovations, learn from your mistakes, and refine your approach without emotional baggage clouding their judgment. They treat your passion project not as a labor of love, but as a market opportunity, approached with calculating detachment. Protect your most valuable ideas. Do not reveal or share them until you are so far ahead that others cannot realistically overtake you. Truth 19. Sometimes appearing weak is the ultimate strength. Machiavelli believed that allowing others to underestimate you grants an enormous strategic advantage. While others dismiss your abilities, you quietly gather critical intelligence and position yourself for victory. The overlooked individual often sees the clearest picture of the landscape. Invisibility becomes a source of insight, and apparent weakness becomes actual power. When people perceive you as harmless, they speak openly around you. They reveal their plans, fears, and weaknesses because they don't see you as a threat. This information becomes invaluable intelligence you can use to outmaneuver them when the time is right. Appearing weak also means others don't prepare defenses against you. They focus their attention on obvious competitors, leaving themselves exposed to your surprise moves. The underestimated opponent benefits from both the element of surprise and the advantage of low expectation. Machiavelli learned firsthand that rulers who showed strength too soon often provoked coalitions against them. Meanwhile, those who appeared weak until the crucial moment faced less resistance, because no one took them seriously enough to organize opposition. Truth 20. Comfort zone equals failure. Every day you choose comfort over growth. Someone else is choosing growth over comfort. The gap between you widens. Your stagnation becomes their opportunity. The life you guard by avoiding risk is the same life that slowly dies from lack of challenge. Safety feels secure, but is actually the most dangerous long-term strategy. Comfort zones are psychological prisons disguised as safe havens. They protect you from temporary discomfort but guarantee permanent mediocrity. While you avoid short-term pain, you accumulate long-term regret. Your comfort zone shrinks if you do not actively expand it. What felt manageable 5 years ago might seem impossible today. If you have been dodging difficulty, your capacity to handle stress, uncertainty, and challenge atrophies like unused muscles. Meanwhile, others build confidence by facing fears you avoid, and you lose confidence in the process. Truth 21. Everyone has a price. Some prices are monetary, others emotional, social, or psychological. But everyone can be influenced if you understand what they value most. The person who claims incorruptibility may simply not have been offered the right currency yet. Their price might be their child's safety, their family's reputation, or their deepest secret exposed. Understanding someone's price doesn't mean exploiting it maliciously. It means recognizing what motivates them. The colleague who won't take a bribe might respond to recognition. The friend who refuses favors might appreciate genuine gratitude. The leader who rejects money might be persuaded by legacy considerations. Everyone prioritizes something above all else. Find that priority, and you find their price. Effective persuasion doesn't feel like manipulation, because it aligns with what the person already wants. You're not forcing them to betray their interests. You're showing how their interests and your goals coincide. Truth 22. Good intentions create hell. Every action breeds unintended consequence. Your charitable donation may fund inefficient organizations. Your emotional support might enable destructive behavior. Your well-meaning advice can stop someone from learning vital lessons. Often, the most dangerous people believe they're helping while causing great harm. Good intentions alone don't guarantee good results. A parent who shields their child from all hardship raises an adult unable to face adversity. Your desire to help often springs from your own psychological needs rather than the other person's true needs. People want to feel useful, needed, virtuous, or powerful. Those motivations may prompt help that serves your emotional needs but harms the person supposedly benefiting. The road to hell is paved with good intentions because outcomes matter more than intentions. Someone who means well but consistently causes harm can be more dangerous than someone who means harm but lacks power. Before you help, examine your true motives and consider the long-term consequences. Sometimes the kindest thing is refusing to help someone who needs to learn self-reliance. Truth 23. Timing trumps everything. The right action at the wrong time fails, while the wrong action at the right time often succeeds. Perfect opportunities expire fast. The moment someone is ready to hear your message, buy your product, or join your cause might last only hours or days. Miss the window, and you could wait years for another chance. Timing influences everything. When you ask for a raise, launch a business, end a relationship, or invest, success or failure often depends more on timing than content. Context determines outcome more than intention or action. Machiavelli observed that successful leaders develop acute sensitivity to timing. They recognize favorable conditions and act decisively. They also have the patience to wait when the moment isn't right. If your intuition signals urgency, act swiftly before the opportunity vanishes. Don't be the person who spends months prepping, only to lose the chance, while others succeed with inferior plans. By seizing the right moment. Truth 24. You need to make decisions actively. You may believe you choose your career, relationships, and lifestyle. However, many major life decisions are made by others who engineer circumstances that force your hand. Those who succeed become active participants in life, shaping their fate instead of passively reacting. Others study your patterns, anticipate your needs, and position themselves to become your solution, just when you are most vulnerable and open to accepting help. They do not control your choices outright, but control the options available at the moment you are ready to decide. For example, An employer offering you a job understands that you are unhappy in your current position. A potential partner pursues you because they recognize your relationship status and emotional needs. These individuals remove alternatives, create a sense of urgency, and arrange circumstances so that their preferred outcomes appear to be your best or only choices. You end up deciding between options they have selected, at times they have chosen, under conditions they have influenced. To prevent this manipulation, you must actively strategize, define what you want to be, have, and do in the long term, and work diligently toward those goals every day, regardless of changing circumstances or the opinions of others. True freedom lies in recognizing when your choices are being shaped by others and expanding your options beyond what they want you to consider. Remember, the person who controls the menu ultimately controls what gets ordered, even if the customer believes they are choosing freely. Truth 25. Loyalty is almost never permanent. When you are struggling, people feel comfortable offering help and advice. Your failure makes them feel superior and generous. You perceive them as loyal friends. But once success arrives, it threatens their self-image and reveals their limitations. The same person who applauded your efforts during hardship may find reasons to criticize your methods when you begin to succeed. Victory isolates you from those who cannot achieve similar success. Failure creates community. As shared struggle bonds people together, everyone relates to disappointment, setbacks, and unfulfilled dreams. Your failures make others feel less alone, so they support you, which improves their own emotional state. Success, however, highlights differences in capability, motivation, and results, often creating separation. Even those who appear loyal might now seek favors or handouts. Test loyalty strategically. Share a small secret, a strategy, or a difficult truth and observe their reaction. Can you trust them on a deeper level? Truth 26. Your secrets control you. Every secret you keep demands energy to maintain. Every hidden truth restricts your ability to act authentically. Secrets become leverage points that others can discover and exploit. A person with no secrets has no vulnerabilities. The one laden with secrets lives in constant fear of exposure. Your hidden life exerts more control over your visible life than you realize. Secrets create psychological burdens that influence your behavior, decisions, and relationships. You avoid certain topics, people, and situations that risk revealing your hidden truths. This avoidance narrows your opportunities and traps you in increasingly complex deceptions. Others can sense your concealments, even if they don't know the specifics. Your evasive answers, inconsistencies, and defensive posture signal vulnerabilities ready to be exploited. Ironically, the more secrets you keep, the more obvious it becomes that you are hiding something. Machiavelli urges you to stop wasting energy maintaining false personas that could be better invested in building genuine relationships and pursuing meaningful goals. The most liberated individuals are those who have eliminated secrets by either resolving the underlying issues or accepting the consequences of disclosure. When you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Without the threat of blackmail, you cannot be controlled through fear of exposure. Truth 27. Fortune only favors the prepared bold. Luck isn't random. It is preparation meeting opportunity. But boldness without preparation is reckless confidence, disguised as courage. Those who appear mysteriously lucky are actually the ones who have prepared themselves for opportunities others don't even recognize. They move quickly when doors open, because they've spent years readying themselves. Machiavelli distinguished between effective boldness and destructive impulsiveness. Bold action succeeds when grounded in careful analysis, thorough preparation, and strategic timing. Reckless action fails because it stems from emotion, wishful thinking, and poor judgment. Preparation lays the foundation for boldness. Think of the entrepreneur who seems to succeed overnight, but who has actually spent years developing skills, building networks, and studying markets. When the right opportunity arises, They act decisively while others are still trying to figure out what's happening. The most successful people craft their skills quietly, work diligently in the background, and strike with precision when the moment arrives. Truth 28. Everyone needs a mentor. Every person you admire has mastered something you struggle with. Their expertise exists precisely in the areas where you feel incompetent. The individual who struggles with confidence seeks mentors who exude self-assurance. The individual who lacks discipline admires those who demonstrate self-control. The person afraid of public speaking is drawn to charismatic communicators. Your weaknesses generate a hunger for improvement that makes you open and receptive to guidance. Strong individuals who excel where you struggle can recognize your potential for growth and feel motivated to help you succeed faster. They remember their own battles with similar obstacles and want to shorten your path by sharing hard-earned wisdom. This dynamic explains why some of the best teachers are those who have overcome significant challenges, rather than those who have never struggled at all. They comprehend the psychological barriers, practical difficulties, and emotional resistance you face. Because they've confronted these themselves, your weaknesses aren't character flaws. They are essential learning opportunities that connect you with mentors, ready and able to foster your growth. The key to unlocking this help lies in approaching these mentors with genuine curiosity, heartfelt gratitude, and sincere admiration. Truth 29. You change the game by refusing to play. The moment you stop competing in someone else's game, you force everyone else to play by new rules. Your withdrawal from their system of measurement renders their achievements meaningless. A person who refuses to engage in status contests, social hierarchies, or approval-seeking behavior becomes immune to traditional control tactics. Non-participation is the ultimate power move. When you stop playing, others expect you to conform. You compel them to either change their approach or lose influence over you. The colleague who tries to provoke jealousy with their success loses power when you no longer care about their victories. The friend who manipulates through guilt cannot control you when you refuse to accept it. Stepping out of these established games requires creating your own measures of success, instead of accepting society's, families', or peers' definitions of winning and losing. The most liberated people are those who have quit playing games they never wanted to join. They have left jobs that made them miserable, ended relationships that drained their energy, and abandoned pursuits that served others' expectations rather than their own values. By refusing to play someone else's game, you automatically invent a new one, and your own terms. Truth 30. Your death gives your life meaning. People rarely appreciate what they possess until it is gone. Your mortality creates urgency. Your finite time makes your attention precious. Your inevitable absence renders your presence valuable. The knowledge that you will die is what compels others to want to be remembered by you. Immortality would strip away this value, because infinite time removes urgency. Death breeds scarcity, and scarcity produces worth. Were you to live forever, your time would be infinite, and thus nearly worthless. If relationships could be repaired endlessly, they would lose their specialness. If opportunities never expired, motivation to seize them would evaporate. Your awareness of mortality forces you to prioritize. With limited time, you must consciously choose what truly matters. These choices form the meaning and significance of your life. They create opportunities to craft a legacy that others admire, especially those unwilling to put in the effort. Challenge your children, grandchildren, and society to see you as a person of honor. By accomplishing extraordinary things, build something lasting. Influence people for generations. Leave a world forever changed because you were here. Your mortality isn't an enemy of meaning. It is the very source of it. Truth 31. Power shared is power lost. True power cannot be distributed without being diminished. The moment you transfer authority over your decisions, resources, or destiny to someone else, your own position weakens. While collaboration may seem virtuous, every partnership inherently divides control. Machiavelli advises that some battles must be fought alone, because shared victory becomes diluted. Power obeys different rules than other resources. When you share money, both parties have less money. When you share power, both parties have less power, and the total power in the dynamic decreases. This happens because nobody can make final decisions quickly when power is divided. Shared authority breeds conflict, as different people harbor varying priorities, timelines, and risk tolerances. The time and energy spent negotiating, compromising, and coordinating drain the pool of power available to achieve your goal. Democracy is slow precisely because power is dispersed among many, who must reach agreement before acting. Machiavelli did not claim dictatorship is the universal solution, but he recognized that decisive action requires concentrated authority. Become the leader and ruler of your own life. Gather valuable information and perspectives from others, but always retain the final decision-making power yourself. Truth 32. The ones in power decide the perception of history. Everything people build, create, or achieve will one day be filtered through perspectives you cannot predict or control. Intentions will be judged by standards that don't even exist yet. The story of your life will partly be told by people who never met you, influenced by cultural values beyond your anticipation, and shaped by propaganda serving their interests. History teaches us that legacy interpretation constantly changes. Heroes shift into villains as values evolve. Villains transform into heroes as contexts change. The same actions praised in one era may be condemned in another. Understand that you have only limited control over how your story unfolds after your death. This is why maximizing the part you can influence matters so much. Cold, hard facts can rarely be completely rewritten, only slightly altered. The first step to preventing history from being distorted is to become the one in power yourself. The more power you hold, the more control you have over the story told about you. Truth 33. The final and darkest truth. Information without implementation is just intellectual entertainment. Most people who learn these patterns nod in recognition, feel briefly enlightened, then return to the same behaviors that keep them trapped. They treat such knowledge like interesting trivia rather than actionable intelligence. The secret lies in turning these harsh, real truths into daily habits that drive you toward long-term goals. Replace fleeting desire with consistent discipline. Substitute cheap dopamine hits with deep fulfillment. Swap mindless, automated behaviors that lead nowhere with structured plans that move you toward your most ambitious aspirations. Take the path of most resistance. Play the game of power intelligently, and nothing can stop you. Once you see the game clearly, you can never pretend it doesn't exist again. You either learn to play it better, or you spend your life being played by those who understand what you choose to ignore. Every person is the ruler of their own life. Will you live yours with eyes wide open, or remain a subject in someone else's kingdom?